Hello everyone, my name is Thematic and this is the final episode for Steins Gate Zero. And as always, if you want to see my reaction, just go down into my descriptions, follow the link, replace the circumflex dot parts with real dots, and enjoy. Once you've done, feel free to come back here and hear out my thoughts. So, see you soon. For those that came back, welcome back a last time. So, it is over. It is the end of the journey for Steins Gate, the end of the journey for Okarin and all the others, and happy and sad, you know? It's a strange thing. This episode was, on the one hand, there was not much surprise in it, on the other hand, there was. There was no big change, no big trick that was being pulled. They just made sure that the problem, the helicopter appearing, was solved, and they didn't even completely show how it was done. You know, it was just that somehow in the past Daru seems to have managed it, and thus the jump worked, and everything was put to be better. So slapping consciousness back into him and bringing him back on the right path, trying not to give up. So in many ways you could say this is like this happening led to the alternate ending of the original Steins Gate. Leads to a better option. They don't show it, and I think that's okay. I mentioned it, I think, in the last discussion, that you don't have to see the ending in the end, so you can just imagine it happening, and it's possibly better that way even than it would be otherwise. However, they created a second timeline. They created an alternate, interesting universe where, although Marquise Kurisu is still gone, they kind of adapted with it. The World War did not happen, so in many ways, this might be a good timeline where he's in, just that Mayuri is gone and Suzuha as well. So he goes out to rescue them, and as we see in the episode, succeeds. So the interesting question is, when he comes back with those two, maybe that is Steins Gate. I mean, it would be without Marquise Kurisu, but it still would be a timeline without war. It would be a timeline without CERN going completely nuts. Maybe that's the timeline, but it would mean that Marquise Kurisu has to stay dead. And then there's the option of the other one where all is fine. So I think both timelines are quite good. They ended off in this timeline here with showing us the two stars. So there's a hint that maybe there will be some love involved. Although it is quite a while later on, you know, it's 14 years later, and the two girls are not older than before. Weird. But yeah, I mean, we had the romance triangle there, and I mean triangle by meaning three girls who are in love with Okarin. So there is Mayuri, there is Maho, clearly. I mean, it is clear that she is a possible partner for him. And we always have the option of Marquise Kurisu if she would be back, you know, kind of. So that's a weird thing. Because I feel kind of bad for Mayuri that she loves Okarin and does not get it answered. You know, she loves him, sure, more as like the prince, you know, the symbol, the one that the mad scientist that saved her, and but there is something in her love that means she would like to have him as a partner as well. And I think that's not what's coming from his side at all. So a little bit sad for her there, but then she's such a good human being that in a weird way it doesn't matter to her so much. They changed the future due to that something with Kagari was different. So it was the fact that Kagari did not interfere in the way she would have had otherwise, and thus the helicopter had to be called by the professor and thus came too late. So whatever Daru did there worked. We have I just wrote down some scenes. We had the moment where the two sisters fought each other and were about to kill each other and couldn't do it, thankfully. And Mayuri put her head between the guns. I mean, that is a strong symbol. Risky, sure, always. You never know what happens, you know. Someone is stupid and pulls a trigger. It pointed out to both of the girls, you don't do that shit. You love me, you do love each other. You're just, you know, angry right now. And it once again showed who she is. By the way, I chose her as a picture due to what she says in this moment here, and because, as it was in the original Steins Gate, she is one of the two major characters. I mean, Okarin might be the main character of the series, but the two most influential characters, without any question, are Mayuri and Marquise Kurisu. Marquise Kurisu being the one that it is all moving around all the time, helping in creating the time machine, but being the one that Okarin tries to save all the time. And in the Steins Gate Zero series, she's the one that is in form of Amadeus always there and extremely powerful, and inspired Maho to do so much. And even then, she is still the one who is so much in the center because she still influences Okarin so much. She's one major character. And the other one is Mayuri, is Mayushi. No question there. She is the heart and soul of the series, always has and always will be. So kudos to those two and to the writers who brought them in so well, who were able to show such a character, you know? I really, really like it. We have the nice comment after they did the time jump of Okarin of Rintaru. I mean, it is Rintaru in this moment, saying Schrödinger's box has been opened. I like that. So the idea of Schrödinger, so you have the answer to the question that cannot be answered, you know? Is it alive or dead? So Schrödinger's box is open. It's a little bit, I mean, there's always, if there are boxes to be opened, there are only two I that come to mind. It is Schrödinger's and it is Pandora's. So and Pandora's is not bringing good either. So very fitting. I have that. Yeah, I got those. So what I have is those two major things, in my opinion, they bring in here just in the between the lines. So we have this moment when Mayuri is floating through time, you could say. She talks to Okarin, sure, but in many ways this is something you could tell to many people. So when everything is dark, when the world is dark and looming, dark and full of terrors, you know, when you have doubts, when you struggle, don't close your eyes, don't give up. That's always the thing. It can be interpreted for so many things. It's about personal problems, it's about family problems, it's about work-related problems. You can take that for everything, but you can even go further and extend it to really if the world is dark, if there are problems in the world, in your society, and so on and so forth. Don't close your eyes, don't look away, don't give up. Try to somehow at least not ignore it. It's not easy to do something against it. I think we all know that. It takes a lot of heart to stand up against something. And I don't think you could blame people who don't have this power in them to stand up. But at least don't look away. Don't let them do it, you know? There were moments in many societies where this was the main problem. People just floating with it, you know, just going with the flow and saying, well, I will ignore it, you know. So don't do that. That's one thing, which is very big in this episode. And the other one was the ending. Let me see if I can get it again. There it is. Because I read through it. That's very clever. It's a very nice one. I really like this small paragraph there. So it's about people having wisdom and so on and so forth, and the last warning of God. And that's interesting one, because they make it sound as though man is not meant to pass the speed of light, and we should stop trying. You know, in the idea of don't do that. It would be even more funnier, they say here, than a fish starting living on the land. So you would say, okay. But then just think about what that means. I mean, fish did try living on land. That's why we exist. The fish from the sea went towards the land, tried it again and again until they succeeded. And out of this, everything on land more neither was born. Just took quite a while of some years. Let's say some more. So they did succeed. So why not? I know by science, it should be impossible to pass the speed of light. But what do we know yet? The one thing I, with not being a scientist, have learned in this short amount of time that I live on this world is that every so years someone comes along, has an idea, and changes the laws of science and the theories and everything again and again and again. Those things that we know for sure are about like 100 years old now. From the time about Einstein, Hawkins changed a bit of it already. But before Einstein, we had other very, very intelligent men, scientists, who invented laws of physics, and many of them are true and stay put. But then, hundreds of years before, people knew that the world was flat. People knew that the world was the center of the universe and everything was moving around it. And they got proven wrong over time, which doesn't make them stupid people at all. So who knows? Maybe in 100 years, people will say it is possible to be faster than light. Maybe not in our universe. Maybe somehow else. Alternate dimensions, what do I know? Hyperspace and so on. There are options. And who knows, maybe even time travel might be possible. I don't know how, I'm no scientist, but that's it, keep an open mind for options as always. So much about that episode. Steins Gate in general, Steins Gate Zero in general. Compared to the original Steins Gate, I like seeing them again. I really liked having the feeling again and so on. It sometimes dragged along a little bit, you know, especially the beginning. The first, like, 10 episodes really stretched it out. Although it was nice to see them in their everyday life, but thus their everyday life was partially sad. That was a little bit unnecessary. They did a lot of tricks here and there on the way. As you know, I commented it. I think there were minor mistakes in there, but it was, as I said, for the storytelling, especially the last episode, how they did it. I'm not sure. But this one will be open now, thus I release this one, so I will hopefully have your comments on that already. In general, I liked it. It was a good series. Because it was not so much only about time travel anymore. I think, compared to the original Steins Gate, it was way more about feelings, and about what is right, you know. We had that on the original Steins Gate as well, but the original tried to way more to contain a scientific working theory of time traveling. And this one really had to slither its way through then and there. But it's okay. It was way more about the family now, about the group of people standing together, being a unity, helping each other. Characters who have been introduced already, showing what they are capable of, how important they are. Many of them, Daru, Moeka, many had their time to shine, and I really like that. Ruka, you know, she in the last episodes we've seen more of her than ever before. So it just widened the universe of Steins Gate we've seen, and I like that. So it is, in my opinion, in very many ways, Steins Gate Zero is like a bow towards the fans, an option to see more of those that they like, and so maybe there's a small hope that somewhere in the future there will be something more. It is not easy playing with the concept of time travel because we do not know enough about that. So even as a writer who is possibly very clever coming up with that, you will stumble and fall over those stones lying in your way when it comes to traveling through time, especially if you have an audience that is well educated. So I've realized that quite a lot of those watching Steins Gate and commenting on it are very well educated when it comes to physics, when it comes to such theories, what is a black hole and everything. So, I mean, they're writers. It's still fiction. Never forget that. They tried their best, and I liked it. It was a really good series, and hopefully more in the future. I think that's it for now. From me this time. I will go on as always with a new series. You will see very soon. And until then, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks along for being on the journey. My name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.